Thank you so much. Thank you, Polkadot. This is awesome to be here. And I was just sharing in the back, with Bitcoin at 62,000, where is everyone? Anyway, it's great to see all of those out there. And I couldn't be more excited to be here today. What is happening with Web3, what's happening with data value, what's happening with taking our ownership back of our data is happening as we speak. Thanks to all the great technologies that are out here, thanks to Polkadot. And today I want to focus in on basically this whole concept of data value networks and the importance of them to get our data back, to keep control of it. And so where do I come from? Well, you're looking at an OG, but not in the crypto space, OG in the database space. I was one of the early people at Oracle, and so I did the Oracle database. And then there was the online cloud database. And today, we now have the decentralized ecosystem for sharing data, sharing content. And I'm going to be sharing with you today what we're doing specifically. So, if this will work. So pretty much everyone knows this slide, but the big thing here for us is it's all about read, write, and own your data. And that is so important. That is how we will go forward. The impacts out there are so critical to the crazy amount of data that is out there today. We already knew about derivative data, all of the webcams and all the collection devices, but the big thing here, of course, is AI. And if we don't own the data, the AI modules, the AI algorithms will be controlled by centralized organizations, which means they could feed whatever they wanted out of there. And by having a true decentralized system, we are going to not only own our data, but really own our future with AI. And of course, this whole world of DePIN, we'll get into that in a little bit, we'll be touching on that too. So as we look at a data value network, our data value network, it is all about that ownership. You're going to hear me talk a lot about security because that's so important. And it's not just about owning your data, but making sure it doesn't get to people that it should not get to. And most importantly, that we're able to manage that whole process. I come from the enterprise. We have to think now Web3 in the enterprise. That takes a lot more responsibility. That takes a lot more sophistication in the way we build these systems. And it's super important that we all work together to having that type of solution. Now, I talked about enterprise level DApps, but it's also the speed in which we get the data. We cannot have systems that don't do as well as the past systems. We have to exceed what has happened in the past. And so we can have all this new functionality with Web3, but without having the systems at the same speed, at the enterprise level in terms of reliability, no one is going to, in the big corporations, want to move over to this type of environment. And that decentralized, which we've talked about being so important, has to have multi-party participation. It has to be anonymous. And we got to be able to, again, control that data and own that data. So specifically, as we look at SES, most of you know we're a decentralized storage solution. But we also have our own blockchain. We also have a decentralized content delivery network. And it is the combination of all those that brings together the data value network that we provide out there in the marketplace. Now, I'm not going to get into super details, but you're going to see here, it's a very sophisticated, layered architecture that we provide. We do make it available. We are chain agnostic, so we're able to work amongst all the different chains. And we have the APIs that allow you to get in and out of our ecosystem very easily. But in terms of the distributed storage and the distributed content layer, we actually have 4 types of miners. So you can actually be either a storage miner, a consensus miner, a cache miner, or a retrieval miner. And all this provides a super well thought out, detailed solution that echoes the likes of an Oracle or an Amazon Web Services on the blockchain. And so then we can plug into the app layer so we can really have those enterprise apps that we want that will be used by companies and they can rely on the system to be working. So specifically, we've been challenged, and these are some of the challenges we face: the data vulnerability, the inefficient storage of data. Many systems, distributed systems out there, if you have 4 storage nodes, just to make it simple, and you have each one of them having 2 terabytes apiece, the total system is a 2 terabyte system. Well, in the world of SES, we think about optimizing that. We're now looking at that 4 times 2 being an 8 terabyte system as an example. So we really maximize the storage. We have that high level of data assurance. Lots of systems today, they're good because they work, but they're slow. We want things to be, we don't need them instantaneously, but we certainly want to stream video. We want to be able to get anything quickly that we need. And so that fast retrieval, that high frequency is very, very important. And then we have to be thinking that for these systems to work effectively, they have to work in the enterprise. They have to be available in the commercial use. And so data sovereignty, the whole protectivity, the whole privacy, the whole security systems have to be in place and really allowing it to be widely acceptable for most commercial use. We go on to CDN and we think about, okay, how does that content get delivered around? And this is a key area. It's high cost. A lot of solutions out there, it's just one provider providing the CDN. You have high security issues that you have to be on top of, and we're challenged with the way that the data is transmitted and how the network gets congested. So all these things tie together, and of course, no standards yet. These are things we all have to work at. And so SES's solution is to provide that decentralized open resource. One of the key things for us is we're not an ecosystem by ourselves. Like Polkadot, we want to plug into everything. We want to allow everyone to be part of our ecosystem. So having the ability to easily, through our APIs and through our open system, you can plug into all parts. In fact, one of the key things is all of our partnerships. We have partnerships with Amazon Web Services, Google. We have partnerships with Polkadot. We have partnerships with everyone out there, and we're very focused on providing those partnerships. You can go to our GitHub. You can go to our website. You can see all the different ways to get involved with SES. We have all sorts of programs that will allow you to easily figure out how you can take advantage of our full ecosystem. And so, that is a critical component, because for this all to work, we have to be working together. And, when I was flying over here from the East Coast just yesterday, it just so happened the guy next to me was head of the Oracle Navy implementations. This is a guy that runs all the Oracle systems out there for the Navy and travels the world. And, of course, it was one of those, we're just about to land stories, but in that 15 minutes of talking, Navy and a lot of organizations are so challenged because they want to own their data. They don't want to go to the cloud, but the cloud is, much easier to work with. It's faster, it's more efficient. So are they going to trade off? Is the Navy going to trade off and let that information sit in a cloud, or are they going to keep it in the Oracle database? And he is, in fact, looking at Web3 to actually jump past the cloud and come into a place where they truly own the data, which is very exciting. This is the stuff that's happening right now as we speak. Organizations like the Navy, I've talked to the IRS, other governmental agencies, certainly the corporations. PwC has lots of work they're doing right now in implementing Web3 solutions inside corporations. So it's super important to be able to have the systems that deliver a high transaction and really well-toned system. So now the testnet, I want to thank everyone in the room that has been on our testnet. We're in our 13th release of the testnet. We've had over 40,000 nodes in the testnet, and it's over this past 2 years that we've actually worked with a lot of you to perfect the system that we're providing. And it's through that exchange of information. Remember, we're big on Discord, we're big on communication. Follow us, keep involved, but provide us with your insights, because it's us all working together that's going to make this all work. And so we just launched out the latest 0.76 release. That came out the end of January. We already have 2,300 nodes up. As I said, we've had nodes typically, we get about 6,000 to 7,000 per release. So all the feedback is greatly appreciated, and we are getting close to letting this run on the mainnet. So we're getting to that golden release time, which is extremely excited for us. We are a token. You can, basically, we'll be issuing tokens. Some of you might know that we just announced the close of our first round of $8 million, and we just started this past week a new round to expand our horizon here. So this is, I think you got a sense from the layered slide, this is a very complex solution, and I spoke this morning at a DPIN group, and if we think about DPIN, it is all about allowing us to interoperate through APIs, letting everyone play, developers, miners, users, enterprises, and so we have to allow for all of this to take place. And you'll see all the 4 different miners that are up there. You'll see the exchange of data. You'll see the exchange of basically the consensus security. You'll see the exchange of tokens. And bottom line, all this you can find on our website at ses.cloud. It gives you a lot more detail than what I have up here in the time I have to present to you guys. But fundamentally, this is a very, very sophisticated system. And for us to win at DPIN and win in this world of Web3, we have to elevate all of our systems together to ensure that we really have something significant. And so we, as I said earlier, don't count on just having our own ecosystem. We have to think about being in the ecosystems that are out there. And so, interoperating with all the different ecosystems here is absolutely critical, but it goes beyond that. Think about in technology, it's always about being available and going back in time, being able to utilize all of the solutions from the past. So that means that Web 2 and Web 3 have to interoperate. In fact, the guy at the Navy has to interoperate with his Oracle database into the Web 3 environment. And so we are seeing that as a very important part of this. And what makes it really interesting is that we can, through SES, actually connect a AWS cloud to a Google cloud. So we are now looking at Web 3 as being the glue amongst all the Web 2 and the standalone systems that are out there, which make that extremely exciting. Probably for me personally, being a member of IEEE, I don't know how many of you know IEEE. It's a standards organization that has been out there for now 140 years. Standards are very critical. If we think of just sidetracking for a minute, IoT, was having a really big challenge until some standards came out. So when Matter came out, it made life amongst Apple and Amazon and Google a lot easier. We are going to have the same thing, the same challenges in DPIN and Web 3. And so what we did at SES is we actually formulated the first decentralized storage IEEE standard, and that is now out there for discussion, and we want to push that initiative forward to facilitate the interaction of all of us as we work together. And the last thing is, take a shot at that QR code, because that will give you everything about us. You'll be able to be part of our story. You can learn more about SES. You can get to the GitHubs and follow us on Twitter. You can actually communicate with us. We have evangelist programs. We have all sorts of programs you can participate at. And most importantly, stay abreast of what we're doing. We're about to announce some very big things over the next couple of months, and we'd love to find ways to work with all of you. Thank you.